Hey you guys, it's Robert, and today we are taking the Fool's Journey with Jane the Seeker. I'm going to bring her on right now, and we are going to be asking questions about her life, what goes on, what brought her to her path. So, Jane, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you
I'm
doing?
excited to talk to you. I watch you on YouTube all the time. You guys, if you haven't seen Jane on her own channel, please check it out. And she is reading all the time on other channels, and I love coming across her. I know one of the things I love about you is I used to be a hairstylist. I always love your hair. It's just beautiful.
It's all back here today.
See, I love long hair. Long hair don't care.
And
But
and and I keep it gray. The bottom part is gray and the top part is brown, and this is all natural. People are always like, "Jane, did you it's over here. You know how you can't see? See, there's
yeah,
lots. See that dark? So I have dark and gray, and it's the way it is. And I
yeah, I
love
just cut my hair short. It was longer, but when it's pulled back, it's silvery,
it.
but there's one dark patch right down the center. And people say, "Why did you dye your hair?" I didn't. It's just the way it is.
I love
But
it.
enough about cosmetology. Today we're talking about Jane the Seeker. Jane, can you tell me a little bit about yourself before we start on the path?
Okay. Well, right now in my life, I am living in Indiana. I'm married. I have a couple of boys, sons that are older. Um, I I grew up in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and when I couldn't take it anymore, um, it was it was too loud because
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? It was just too loud. And I'd taken a trip up to Seattle. And when I stepped off the plane, Spirit said, "You are supposed to be here." So I worked for 3 years on the goal of moving up to Seattle. And I moved there. And that's where I met and married my husband and had my 2 children. And
Nice.
yeah. And then we lived down in San Diego for a long time. And now we're in Indiana. Yay.
So you
I'm
like picturesque places.
Yeah, I've moved a lot. I mean, I was born in one, it's just but I love it here because we live on a lake. We don't have a lakefront, but it's right there. We live on the ravine. I have trees everywhere. It's raining right now. So,
Nice.
and it's just, I love it. I went for a walk this morning. I love walking and taking photographs, and I took a lot of really great photographs this morning.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to take up photography. There's just I've been looking at the world differently in the past decade, and I really want to just take pictures of it and memorialize certain points. And I want to do it well, not just with pictures on my phone. I want to do it well. So let's get started on the path. And our first card today is the Fool. What started you on your path, and how long have you been on your spiritual journey?
Okay. All right. I'm going to condense it because I started seeing angels when I was 3 years old. Angels surrounded my bed. They were telling me stories. They were telling me of what was going to happen in my life. I thought that they were doctors and surgeons. They scared the bejesus out of me. I was like so afraid of them. And I would tell my parents, but they thought I just saw things all the time. Yeah, absolutely, Pamela. Um, and so I grew up not seeing angels, not really realizing that I was psychic. Hey, Heather. Um, but I knew that I was different, and I always felt weird and different, and I always knew things. So I would say it really started when I was 3, but I bought my first deck I think, I'm not positive, in 1984.
I thought you were saying you bought your first deck when you were 3. I was like, that's fascinating.
Wouldn't that be funny? A little toddler going into a store.
Awesome.
Ooh, these are pretty, mommy. No. And then, like, this was the book that I learned from. It's the, like, this is the oldest book in the world. Actually, there's paperwork in here. There's like
Trying to
stories.
read you about your car's extended warranty.
That's probably what it is. What is it? It's letters. Oh, that's a letter from Pamela Batchelor. We'll put that away. I save all my letters that people send me. Yeah, so I bought the Hansen Roberts, and I don't know if there was any other before this one, but this one is retired now because I used to use it for a certain person, and I am no longer. And it used to be like their dad. I
I
one of
have a deck like that.
Yeah, you have that deck that is for one person. It just works so well for them, and you can see them in the cards.
Yeah.
And so and it's, I mean, it's really kind of silly, but I'll cleanse it and it'll be fine. It was just a very long relationship that soured. And
Well, the cards, I know for me and a lot of people I know, we use them as cues to help us associate with certain things in the spirit world. When a deck in this realm triggers certain thoughts and feelings, it becomes ineffective. So until you get past that, I agree. It's kind of not going to be very useful to you until you break those attachments. But yeah, the same way my mom had her tarot deck, Mythic Tarot. It is a beautiful deck. It's the original Mythic Tarot, not the new one. And I love using it, but every time I do it, all I think about is my mom. So it takes away from the reading. So I don't really use it in professional readings, but I do use it.
is your mother on the other side?
Of the country. No, she's alive and well. It's just my
Don't
yeah,
worry about it. I understand. I get it.
it's a mother-son relationship, sometimes complicated.
Trust me. I'm in a couple of those.
And gotcha.
I'm a
Okay.
mother with 2 boys.
Okay, good. You do get it. When you started off on your journey, when did you say, okay, something is here? Something is different, and I'm now aware of it.
Well, that was before tarot cards, and it was when I was about 14 or 15, and I've always been extremely sensitive, and I happened to have a boyfriend, so I was really keyed into the boyfriend, and I used to see what he was thinking, and it was very, very hard. I fought a lot with him because I could see his thoughts, and I could I could feel all like I felt everything that was going on around me. It was extremely hard. There's Ramon.
There's Ramon.
And so I went through a very dark period where I lived on drugs.
Yeah,
A steady diet of drugs. I'm not proud of that, but I had to quiet the voices. I had to quiet everything down.
yeah,
And that was, because it was hard to know. It was hard to know things
I agree. I get it.
and to not know where it's coming from. I didn't have my mother didn't do tarot. I honestly didn't have parents, to be honest. My dad left when I was really young, so therefore my mom left. So I didn't have I was my guidance. So
Was it difficult?
yes. Yes, and, it was during that time, I think everything's meant to be for a reason, and we have free will and all that kind of stuff. I totally understand that. But when I was 17, my mom was out of town. She was always gone. She when my like I said, when my dad left, my mom left. We're good now, my mom and I. She's 90. We're
Right.
we're really good now. We've healed our relationship. Father has passed. But,
Yeah.
uh, I fell ill, and I was very, very sick. I was on the verge of dying, and I went into the hospital, and that's what and this is where the angels come in, because they told me about all this stuff, but I didn't understand back then. I'm still putting the pieces together. But during that, finally, I called somebody, they took me to the hospital. Nobody would take me. I had to go to the worst hospital. I had to go to Harbor General Hospital in LA.
Oh my gosh. How long were you there?
I was there for a week. It was horrible. It was just horrible.
I was in the waiting room for 23 hours once at Harbor General.
Oh
Just
my
the waiting
god.
room.
Well, I was in the hallway on a gurney in the hallway in a puffed up suit, and I got there at, like, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't have my surgery until midnight, after midnight.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so when I was having that surgery, and I thought this was really weird, so I never told anybody about this, but I hear now that it's quite common. When I was having my surgery, I was up watching them doing my surgery. And I told them, I was like, after the surgery and the next morning the surgeon comes in and I said, you know, I heard what I was watching you and I heard you say this, that, and the other thing, and because they did. And he goes, "Oh no, that couldn't have happened. We didn't say that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Right. I think that's one of the things that empaths and psychics hate most about conversations is that we can see when you're bull crapping, when you're flinging the bull, and we know it, and we can spiritually smell that bull crap. It drives us batty because we have no way to prove what we're saying or what we're feeling. And you're sitting there going, nope, 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 nope. But we know for a fact. And yeah, so I get it drives me crazy. It just drives me knuckin' futz, as I used to say.
Yes.
Now, the next card up we have is the Magician, my
Okay.
favorite card in the deck.
Now
It,
go on.
I would say it is a card of willpower and manifesting your needs, but I've always associated this card more with its astrology, which is Mercury, the planet of thought and communication. So, when did you first declare that you had abilities to others?
To a very few people. When I was about 20 years old. And that's when so this, Hansen Roberts deck that I have, it wasn't my first deck, thinking about it now, because I was doing readings for people when I was 20 years old, and this came out in 1984, so I would have been 23.
And
No.
how was that? How did it go over when you related to others?
Um, well, some people were very curious, and they wanted, "Oh, can I have a reading? Will you read for me?" And other people were, left me.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and people think it's interesting being psychic and empath or whatever it is that is going on in our lives. Um, People think sometimes I don't tell people because they think I'm gonna read their minds. And I'm
yeah.
and it's like I'm not a mind reader, but I get information, I mean, one time, and so for the magician card, that would be the experience of when I was living in Los Angeles, and I had already started doing tarot cards, and I took a vacation up to the Seattle area. And when I got off the plane, Spirit said, "You are supposed to move here." I mean, it was like when I put my foot on soil, the waves came up through my body, and I just had complete chills, and I was like, "I this is where," and I heard, "You are to move here." So I did, and that's where that's where I thought my life was gonna go in a different direction.
And how
Moving
long ago was that?
That would have been in 1989. Yeah, 90 I don't
And
know, 1980 something.
once you found yourself in Indiana, we have the High Priestess card. Once you found
Mhm.
yourself there, how did your spirituality have the chance to grow?
Well, when I moved here, I was very alone. I still am alone, but, I didn't watch YouTube, I didn't watch psychics, I spent all day meditating, chanting, and, when I was meditating and chanting, that's when Archangel Uriel and Archangel Metatron came to me. And that's when the angels really they came back. I mean, like, they showed themselves to me back again, and that's when I put together all the dots. So with the High Priestess, that's when I put together the whole, "You're gonna have it," they weren't saying, "We're gonna operate on you." They were saying, "You're gonna have a lot of surgeries."
Mm.
They also told me they had me so frightened because they told me, You're not gonna be able to breathe at night." So I used to think that I was gonna stop breathing all the time, and finally, I've been diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was gonna say, is it sleep apnea? My husband has it. That's how I know.
Yeah, and so but I think that having sleep apnea is actually a gift, because every time I stop breathing for, like, 2 minutes or 3 minutes or however long it is, I step over onto the other side. So I live with one foot on this side and one foot on that side. And I go up and I get my teachings for that little 3 minutes
Right.
or 2 minutes, and then I'm back.
That liminal space you're talking about is sometimes it's hard to acquire intentionally. When I'm trying to receive a specific vision or something, I really gotta like work at not working and
Mhm.
opening up to it. But other times it comes unbidden. It just shows up like doing the dishes every time. If I'm doing the dishes and I let my mind stray and I'm looking at that water, bingo, every time something will come through and I'm like, that's not really what I wanted to do right now, but thank you. you know, appreciate it.
I get
Um,
you get the smells?
Sometimes, very rarely, sometimes. If I get a smell, I know it's something close and imminent.
Mhm,
Uh,
okay.
if I could smell the ichor or if I could smell a certain cologne. And sometimes I have smelled something that makes me associate with my grandmother or my aunt, which means I'm hearing or feeling that they are near me. Um, and then I know if it's my aunt, defense, psychic defense. If it's my grandmother, I need to take care of somebody. It's it's a telling thing, and I really appreciate my ancestors. They're wonderful people.
Yes. Just this is my favorite High Priestess card. Then and this is the way the
Oh,
moon is reflected in the conch shell.
hmm, I
So
love it's a card of feminine strength. So that is implying the female parts.
mhm, yeah, it's very female.
I love that.
But, I love that it's the moon inside because I love the moon. That's where I get all of my intuition. So,
Right.
yeah.
Was it hard learning to follow your intuition?
Yes. Yes,
Did
it
you have
was.
to do specific exercises, or did you just over time strengthen it naturally?
Well, I think the whole time that I was, meditating and when I wasn't doing anything with anybody, and I was just meditating, chanting, and, having vision quests in my bedroom, I went to certain angels retreats, I kinda let myself leave my body whenever my soul wants to. Like, like one day I was sitting here and I was listening. I had my headphones on and I was listening to there's been a couple of times where I've gotten visions from meditations, listening to meditations. And one time, and I am not a Christian. I just want to say this because I am not a Christian and not to offend anybody. But I do. I was in a meditation and I turned. Well, it always feels like I turned, even though I didn't turn. I thought I was turned and there were feet in front of me, and I kissed them, and I heard they were Jesus's feet. So, I like those types of things happen in meditations.
Right.
I was told that I'm a student of Mary Magdalene, that many of us are, and they told me that we're on the other side far more than we're on this side. This side is like this.
I think of this side as a playground for spirit.
Yeah.
Uh, I know it's kind of hard to follow, but the earth is a retreat. The earth is somewhere where our spirits come to rest before they. I don't know. It's very complicated. I'm still trying to understand how to put it into words, but this is temporary. The world we live in is an illusion. Think Matrix. Okay, that is where I go. And because of that, our thoughts and willpower do manifest easier because we become part of the programmers instead of part of the program.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, what I was gonna say was I was listening to there was the kissing of Jesus's feet, but I was also listening to an Eckhart Tolle meditation with headphones on, and all of a sudden, I was up in the corner, and I was free, and I say this, "Hi, Rhonda." I say this because 'cause I'm in pain all the time, constantly, but when I'm out of my body, I love being out of my body. Um, yeah, Pamela's got a lot of wisdom, I'll tell you.
I
But,
know I want to talk to Pamela too.
um, sh when I was out of my body listening to Eckhart Tolle, I was like, "Oh, wow, this wait a second." I couldn't understand what he was saying. It sounded like he was speaking a different language, and it snapped me back into my body really hard. So that's the one thing that I don't like. I love being out of my body, but, "Oh, there's the baby.
She's my little Aria kitty.
Oh, there's a little
Little
tortie ever."
troublemaker.
That's why I say they got tortitude. Is
Fortitude.
your
She's a little troublemaker.
What's the other one look like?
She's a silver cat about the same size. Her name is Cersei, Silver Cersei. And funny thing about her is my husband, she's crawling all over my wires and cards. When we got Cersei, my husband says, don't name her anything magical or witchy. Just name her a cat name. I said, okay, you name her. And he says, all right, Cersei. And I went, okay.
I love it.
For
I
those who don't know, Cersei is a priestess of the goddess Hecate, um, and considered a goddess in her own right, partially. But it's also Game of Thrones, which is why Arya here is the other kitty. Come here, Cersei cat. I see her over there, but she's aloof.
Oh,
Aloof, but yeah. So, getting back to our voyage, the Empress, you said you had children.
yes.
Do your gifts run in your bloodline?
I believe they do. I think that, but they won't okay, because my second child, he started walking and talking at 9 months old. He didn't have a veil when he was like, he could see everything. And when he was 1 year old and he was talking, I mean, I'm not lying, this is like the truth. I wouldn't say this. He told me about past lives, and I didn't write any of it down.
Ah,
That was my Empress moment, was giving birth to these children. I almost died with my first one, and he was very premature, and so that snapped something in me. But then, with the second one, he almost died as well. I didn't almost die, but he almost died during that one. But he told me about all of these past lives, and he was talking about being in wars and flying in airplanes, and he was 1 years old. He didn't There's no way he would have known the stuff that he was telling me. And that was when I was like,
yeah. Um, you sparked something when you were talking about that he almost died. Do you think the death energy had any effect? The possibility of death. I know throughout my life, I'm in my mid 50s. I've had a lot of times when I almost died. And it seems like every time that happens, my intuition is strengthened up a little bit more. It's like I level up kind of spiritually. How would you feel about that concept?
I would agree. I would agree with that. Uh, Earth is a lab for spirit growth. Yes.
That is what I was trying to say. Yes. Thank you for putting it in basic words, Ramon.
Yes.
Me no good with talking.
English hard, words
English
hard,
hard, words hard.
words hard. Um, yeah, so I that's when everything sort of hit for me, because like I believed in all this stuff. I had done past life regressions. I know there's certain things that I know that I have been. I know that I was a Vestal Virgin. Um, and this knowledge comes to me in bits and pieces, because I have no proof that I was a Vestal Virgin, but I can tell you that I was. I know I was. And there's certain tells that I can't tell anybody of how I know, because it has to do with my lineage.
Okay.
So, so I can't to say how I know would give away a lot more information about me than I want people to know. I mean, like
That's
they
fine.
would be able to get my social security number,
We're only here to know the basics, my love.
There you go. Yeah, so I believe that every time. It feels like every time there's something. I mean, if you think about it, if you think about those close calls, I mean, what made it a close call and not a call?
Yeah. That is a very good point. How how has well, I guess I should hold up the card. We have the Emperor. When you started to structure your belief system and structure your gifts, what
Yeah.
was your thought process there?
I am a fully immersed Pisces.
Seeker,
And
seeker, seeker. Good job.
yes, so um
Oh, I knew she was gonna unplug my light. It's okay.
oh, I saw it go a little bit dim.
Knew she was gonna do that.
Kitties. Um yeah, so what I'm sorry, I forgot where we were. The words hard, memory bad.
Memory bad. Yeah. We were talking about the Emperor and structuring your spiritual beliefs.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. I don't structure them. That's why I love this hierophant. Oh no, wait, this is the hierophant.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not I it's weird because I don't have structure. My structure is not having structure. My structure is following the breadcrumbs, putting pieces together. Um, I found this uh just putting all the things together. Uh, the smells. we were, I was talking about smells earlier. One day after we moved to Indiana, I was sitting on the floor in the living room, and all of a sudden, a smell came through. It was perfume. It was my husband's mother, and she just wanted to I love that, Vicky. She my, my husband's mother just wanted me to tell him that she was very happy that he was back in Indiana because he's from here. I am
Right.
not. I did not live here, but I'm trying to change this place. But anyway,
Yeah, I get the feeling. Yeah. Um, have you faced any consequences because of your spirituality?
a lot, a lot. Uh, Not, I mean, just because of the fact that, to be honest with you, um, uh, how do I say this? All the drugs that I did, I'm sure that I have damaged my liver. I used to, you know, I'm sure that that's a part of damage that my spirituality did to me. Um, but I needed that in order to survive. It was the only way I could survive.
I view things like that. And see, I came from a rough past as well. I ran away from home at age 15 and just run away down the corner. I ran away to New Orleans from California. I dove headfirst into partying. I went from high school to bars
Yeah.
and was drunk and loaded and stoned and tweaked and amped all the time until I was in my late 20s. So I know I did damage to myself also. Um, but I now realize I needed those lessons to be able to relate to a wider audience of people. I can relate to people in a higher tax bracket, so to speak. I can relate to people who are living on the street because I've been in both situations. And I honestly believe that the gods put us on certain paths for a reason. Okay? Life is a learning experience. And it's time to share that experience. You said that the next card, the Hierophant, is your favorite card. And it's one of my favorites mainly because it's all about learning and teaching what we have learned. Thank you. Thank you very much, Vicky. When did you realize you were going to need to, that there was a call for you to teach what you've learned?
Well, honestly, and here's my Hierophant. This is the Hierophant I relate to. I'm more of a peace loving, like, let's just sit around and talk about all the weird things. I
Mm.
love anything weird, odd. Um, that's me. I would be like, just come on in. And just recently I'm playing with the idea of not doing as many lives as I do and doing more, on Zoom, getting groups together and helping people, either learn. I wanna make, like, a support group for people who are psychic and doing cards or not, whatever, but, that are pain warriors. Because I know a lot of, being that I am a pain warrior, I know a lot of people who are pain warriors. So, I feel like that is something that's teachable. Because in state of, I'm just gonna say this, while you were doing, I'm in the state of meditation, I do not have pain.
Yes, that is true. I've noticed that.
So
Um,
that's why I was like, maybe I can get, I just wanna support people, let's just have a group where we can sit together once a week on Zoom maybe throw some cards, maybe do some readings, or talk about, it will be open and free, like it'll just be a,
Well, if you do that, count me in. I'd love to be a part of it. And so would Vicky, and I'm sure that other people would as well. I'm lucky. I have what we call the Tarot Tribe here where I live, and it's a core group of people. We get together and we just bullshit about spiritual matters. I've got my friend D, Mama D. She's an energy and pet reader, and eventually she'll be on my channel. But Joey, the Veiled Cottage Witch, who I've been doing videos with lately, we get together, and since we live in Arizona, we'll smoke a blunt and then talk spiritual matters. And it's one of my most favorite things to do, is just to express something I can't express with the general public, and when you're at the supermarket and you get vibes from people, and you have trouble getting rid of those vibes. Nobody understands that except somebody else who deals with the same situation. So it's very comforting.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. It like I said, it's hard. Both you and I had the same experience. We felt these things. We were different. We felt different. So we ran away from our issues, but we ran away from one thing, but we ran to another thing. And here we are today. We made it.
We did. We are survivors and we are teachers. We've earned the right to say, hey, no, this has gotten me through my life. Let me share it with you. I'm not telling you this is what you need to do. I'm saying this is what I did.
Yeah.
Can you use anything from that? And I don't know if you've noticed, but my cats turned the light back on. I don't even know how they did that. But
you're a great pet trainer.
I really don't know how they did that, but they're playing back down by there.
It's pouring down rain. Oh, there's the other one. Oh, what a beauty. Oh, it looks like a Russian blue almost.
It does, but she's mixed because she's real thin.
Russian blues have a bigger face. Okay.
Yeah, nice big round face. We have the Lover's card is our next card. Now, I don't normally do this, but which aspect of the Lovers do you associate with most?
With the Lovers, the aspect of the Lovers for me is connection, and it's the connection to spirit as well. So I see it as I see the Lover's card very different from a lot of people, but I see it as the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and it doesn't have to, we are all divine, both feminine and masculine. So when I say that, I'm not saying that it's a man and a woman. I'm just saying the divine, the essence. And then you connect to, there's that angel up there above, right? Mm-hmm. So you're making a triad, a triangle with spirit. And that's how I see it. As
everybody has a different interpretation of this card. Like my friend Joey, I was telling you about, sees it a little differently than I do. I see this card as a union of opposites, mainly. Mm-hmm. And then there's the choice of which path to follow. Have you had any regrets about the path you've chosen to follow?
Yes. Yes, many. But I can't live in my regrets.
Understood. It's hard not to do that, and I applaud your strength. It's not easy to come from a rough life and then shed that. You can't really shed it because it is part of who you are and what you've been through. And for me, it is difficult looking back sometimes at my past, saying, "Oh my gosh," but I tell myself, "Yeah, that's over. I'm on to new and better things. Exactly what you were talking about. How has the people that you've been with romantically viewed your abilities? I know that my husband, when he found out about me and realized that I was not bullshitting, he started getting more quiet, as if I wouldn't be able to pick up on anything. I didn't have the heart to tell him, you don't need to speak up. So has
Um,
caused an issue in that arena for you?
well, it did, uh, only with my husband, because he didn't believe me. And that's why, I mean, I am in a cis marriage, but I am pan. I really don't care. I'm parts are parts.
I'm in a
What?
man-man relationship, but I used to be married to a woman.
Yeah. So it's like I'm very fluid, but um, my husband did not believe me, and so that was really super hard because he didn't. Oh, Miss Tarot D.
Yeah, she
Hey,
just
Miss
showed up.
Tarot D. Nice to see you. Miss Tarot D has really given me a good boost in my abilities, because for some unknown reason, I do not know why, but I feel psychically connected to Miss Tarot D, and I see her whenever I
She's one of
do.
the people I
Mhm.
love to hear talk because she just talks from the heart and soul, and I
Yes,
really appreciate that.
really
Um,
wonderful human.
we have the Chariot card. Now, I view this card in different ways. It's about balancing your emotions because it's associated with Cancer.
Mhm.
What was your main challenge learning to balance your emotions in life?
And I just have to. Miss Tarot D said, yes, Jane keeps remote viewing when I'm in the shower. See, I love her sense of humor too.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, yeah,
All right. Stop it.
it's oh, it's poor
What they're
kitty.
knocking over.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Um,
They want me to play with them, and I'm not going to right now.
like you need to get one of those things and like on the wall, a suction cup it on the wall, and then they can play with it, or even like they put these things on the wall and the cats lick them. They'll be
We've
there
only
forever.
had cats for a few months. Before that, we had dogs for decades. That's all we had. So, um, this is new experience. The cats now have troublemaker partners, and they get into everything. Nancy just showed up.
Hi, Nancy. I'll be with Nancy and Gerald tomorrow
Oh,
on Gerald's channel. That's always fun. Um,
um, so what were we saying? Oh yeah, balancing your emotions. What was the biggest challenge? And have you been able to balance your emotions? I guess I should say.
I That's something that I work on daily. And I think that one of the things that really helps me was I've had a lot of therapy in my life. So I would say being open to I'm never one of those closed off people when somebody will talk to me and they're giving me advice. I
Right.
won't say, "Well, no, I've already tried that. No, I can't do that," or whatever. I mean, sometimes I do. I will listen, and then I will take what I need and then move on from and leave the rest.
Good.
So, I think, like, listening and talking and working through things and that like-minded people, you have to find those people that you can be weird with.
Yes. You
You
have
have to find
to
those people.
express.
Yeah, you have to have those people where you can say, "Wow, I was meditating and, this angel showed up." That yeah, exactly, Vicky. Yeah.
Vicky says 20 years therapy.
I just had a therapy session on Friday. It's like, and I was like, I must tell you something right off the bat. I'm psychic. I'm a psychic medium. And she's like, oh, wow. So do you do those tarot cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're either going to get two reactions when you say that. Oh, that's so cool. Or, oh.
Yeah. And this woman was lovely. Lovely. We'll go back to her.
Yeah. We've handled the first 7 cards, so let's take a break and just acknowledge everybody that's here. We've got Vicky. Hi, Vicky. How you doing? Pamela is here. Soul Academy, Heather. Hypnicity is here. I said Pamela, Miss Tarot D. I think Ramon had to go back to work, maybe.
Probably.
We're having a Halloween episode coming up, and I'm trying to organize people on 2 continents. So it's going to be me, Gerald, Ramon, Ken Payne, and Chris Butler. I was like, who's the last one?
Woo!
So it's going to be all of us. And
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. I love these. Those are my most favorite men to watch on the internet. So we're just going to do a Halloween Spook Fest. Now, the Strength card is the next card up. When did you feel free to express yourself, to come out of the house and just kick that door open and say, I'm Jane the freaking Seeker? When did you make yourself available that way?
It's been a really long process. Wait, now, just to the chariot, though, I just wanted to say how I maneuvered the chariot was making sure that I wasn't getting stuck in a rut and going in circles, that I did just keep on going. Fantastic. And lean into it. Just lean into it. But anyways, ask your question again.
The Strength card is associated with Leo, expression, being outgoing. It is also a card of gentle control. When did you first come out of the gate as Jane the Seeker? And do you take professional clients? And how did you start advertising that idea out? How did you start getting the idea of taking clients out to the universe?
Just a couple years ago. Because I was a closeted psychic and tarot card reader, so I didn't, and especially living in Indiana, I was scared of, and I am afraid, but I lean on this card. This is the Strength card from the Spacious Tarot. And what I like about this card is that you can bloom in the desert. You can bloom without any water. You don't need water to bloom. And this is the way I felt. I felt like I was in this extremely, I'm in the Bible Belt, all of this stuff. And I was like, but I have to use this strength because I may be one little flower in this desert, but I'm here. And so I don't hold back any longer. That's been like a recent thing. I did start doing, I've been doing professional readings for a long, long time. Just with people out and about, people I knew, they would recommend me and all that kind of stuff. But I started my channel about 2.5 years ago.
Right.
So that's when I finally was like, and it took me a long time to start my channel because I was trying to do it where you couldn't see my face. I didn't want anybody to see my face.
I didn't want to do that either. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So it took me
a lot. See, I'm real fidgety. I move around a lot. And that's because I have a neurological issue. I had brain surgery, and so now I'm always like fidgeting around. And you've been sitting there nice and quiet, and I have to fight the feeling of awkwardness when I move so much. So it's not that I'm tweaked or anything, everybody watching. It's that I do have a neurological issue. I also have tremors really bad in my hands when I try to write, which it's funny when I'm eating soup. My family loves to watch it. The expression is the main thing I wanted to ask about that card. And you answered it. Oh, Ramon says he's painting the driveway. Well, we're glad you're still with us, bud. Expression. Was there any blowback when you started?
Not to my face. I don't see my husband's side of the family anymore at all. I don't feel comfortable. I will go to their family reunions, and I will hang out. One of my husband's nephew he's gay, and he's married. And so I hang out with them. Those are my glue. I feel comfortable with them.
Right.
So the three of us will just be sitting in a little area, and everybody else, and we're like the different ones. Now, there's probably other people there that are different, but they haven't shown the differences yet.
They haven't embraced it.
But she, I was very proud of my nephew for coming out and for marrying, and, the family, and he has Parkinson's. So, there's a lot there, and his husband is just so great, and they're young. So I love that.
The Hermit card is the next card up on the hit parade. Now, the thing about the Hermit with me is looking back at the past, finding the bright spots and carrying them forward into the future. What is the main thing that you've carried with you throughout your journey? The main teaching or spiritual mantra that you hold on to and tell yourself when things get rough?
Well, I follow, the hierophant. No, I'm sorry, the Hermit. For me, that's always a going inside so that you can shine your light for others. Otherwise, if you haven't gone inside and worked on your shadow and worked on yourself, you can't really shine a light for others. And I always wanted to be a beacon of light for other people, especially those that don't feel relatable or comfortable, or they feel different than. So that I'm always wanting people to be really real with me, and I will be really real with them. Let's just be honest. Let's have and not worry about anything.
Right. Now, you said something very interesting. You said about doing your own shadow work. And I wrote down, your own shadow dims your light. We've had our light been dimmed by other people, but when you've got that much shadow work that you need to do, your own shadow can dim the light you're trying to shine on other people, or give it a bad skew. So we constantly need to work on our own shadows, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. It's like, just, I mean, like this card, this is the Two of Cups, but it's like, really take a look at yourself, get all naked and look in the mirror, and accept all of your warts, your everything that you've got going on, and look within everything. I was born with a syndrome. You had your brain thing. We all have these things that we have to deal with, and so I constantly am. It's a balance. of dark and light, of, and I'm grateful for those things. I
Right.
like it when somebody challenges me. "Oh, really? Well, tell me what number I'm thinking of." It's like,
You know what I hate most of all is when I make a comment online, it's general something, and they know I'm a tarot reader. Oh, well, you should have seen that coming. No, I've never heard that before. Thank you for telling me that. I probably should have been aware. You know, that bothers me. I think most of than any other comment. You should have seen that coming. Well, yeah, but tarot doesn't work that way. Let me explain what it's actually for.
although I will say there was one time, well, there've been several times, but, Gerald had come into a chat. I was doing a thing, a live with, Toadstool Tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it, Miss Tarot D. Um, what was I now?
Sorry, it was just too funny not to show
I
you.
know, she's a crack up. I absolutely love her. Um, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the Hermit Card, and I sorry that blew it out of my mind
Oh,
too.
the people who challenge us.
Oh
That's
yes.
what I was like, oh yeah, okay. So I know I was gonna tell you a story. So I was doing a thing with Robin, and Gerald came in and he was like, just to, give us a question, to throw a question at us, because we were using Robin Toadstool Tarot. We were using his decks, and because I love his decks, I use them all the time. And so Gerald comes in nonchalantly and he says, "Tell me about my weekend." And Robin is very much a thinker and I'm just a feeler, right? And so um uh so Robin's like, "Well, I don't know. I mean, let's see, you're not," and he was going on and on. And then finally Gerald goes, "Just tell me about my Monday. Tell me about my Monday." So Robin was doing his reading. He did his first, and I was doing Lenormand. I was
Ooh,
doing
mama.
so, like, I saw that Gerald was getting married,
You
and I
saw Joe's wedding coming. Oh, that's
yes,
awesome.
I was like, I would you and you can watch the video. I'm doing the cards, and I just go like this. I'm like, and I mean, it's my face is, and then I'm trying to, like, hide my face, and then I'm like, while Robin's still doing it, I pulled from his majors, if I'm it's from majors only. I pulled from this deck right
Oh,
here, the interface, and uh I got the Hierophant. So I mean that nothing more. I mean, I mean, the only thing that it would have been even more have said you're getting married would have been maybe the Four of Wands. But I had already got from the Lenormand that he was marrying his best friend. They were
oh,
right next to each other. It was best friend. They were getting married. And it was so funny because I got the marriage, Robin got the scene, like where
oh,
it was going to be held. And the funny thing is that's not the way it was supposed to go down. And both Robin and I saw tiny little problems because I got the mice in
right.
Lenormand, and he saw something and he said, "There's like a tiny little problem." And Gerald, like, there was no problem. It was all set and ready to go. And he explains it. It turns out that the person who was going to be doing the officiant that was going to be doing their wedding called them and said, "I have COVID. I can't do it." So they
Oh,
had to run around really fast and they made it work. And that's how they ended up in a park. And so, and Rob and Gerald was just, after that happened, Ms. Tarot D was in the chat. Um, and was saying, "Yeah, Gerald's gonna marry me. We're gonna run off and get married." It was pretty funny. But anyways, then Gerald did say on his channel, because he didn't say he was getting married. It was a surprise. Nobody was supposed to know. And so then he goes on his channel on Tuesday and he's talking and having, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "Yes, and Jane saw it and Robin saw it, and he's like, you should have seen her face." And this, that, and the other thing. It was really funny. It was a great time, and it's a great story. And so, Gerald always says, if you have a surprise and you want to keep something secret, don't ask a psychic what you're doing on Monday.
Right. Surprise.
Surprise.
Now, the Wheel of Fortune
Mm.
comes up next. It brings a reversal of fate. When did you notice things start to go, quote unquote, proper for you, or better, or in the lane that brought expansion? When did you notice that things started going groovy for you?
Well, first I had to go through the really down thing, like I had to be down at the bottom, and I sat there for a little while. I would say that the wheel started turning for me when I did allow myself the freedom of candles, crystals, tarot. So, probably, I think when I was a mother too.
No.
They're learning how to use StreamYard.
Yeah, they're daddy's little kitties.
They're your producers now. Yeah, so I had to realize the ups and the downs, and I still am on that Wheel of Fortune, but I think when I finally opened up and came out of the tarot closet, and also I went through some stuff when I was in my 40s, where I went out into the world and really experimented with everything, and then I got it all out of me, and then I came back.
Gotcha. Justice is the next card up. Justice brings karmic balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not sure how to relate this question to you. What does the Justice card represent to you? Let's start that way.
I'm going to tell you what happened to me, and this is how I feel like I'm okay with justice. I, in my early 20s, used to drive. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it all out there, I mean, it is what it is. I did what I did. I used to drive drunk all the time. I mean, because I was always drunk or high or whatever. And so they are, and they're so cute. Mine are laying over there doing nothing. But
Lucky.
well, they'll want me in a minute. Anyway, so for me, the karmic part of it was when I was in the early 20s, I used to drive drunk all the time, all kinds of stuff. I did all kinds of crazy stuff. Then when I was in the 40s, when I went out and was like went back out there again to figure out who I was, what I was, and all that kind of stuff. And I was driving home drunk from a comedy show, and I got pulled over and I got put in jail. And that was like the best thing to ever happen to me. It was like, I felt like, well, this is crappy. I have to go through this now. But I feel like it didn't make up for all the times that I drove drunk. I never had any accidents or anything like that. But it was a big, huge wake-up call for me.
Mine was very similar because I was coming home from a bar,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about 3:30 in the morning. And I was going down the highway, and I fell asleep at the wheel for a second and swerved into oncoming traffic and almost clipped a car. And I pulled over, and I was like, wow. And I looked back in the mirror, and that car had lights flashing. It was a cop car that I almost hit. And I got charged with the wet reckless. And as you say, it was one of the best things that could happen because it started my road to recovery. It made me think, dude, you almost A, hit a cop car, and B, you could have killed yourself and somebody else. If this were any other time, any other situation, you would not be here. Get your shit together. And
Exactly.
so it did. It started me on a new road. I left California, came to the desert, and rebuilt my life. Okay,
Mhm.
restructured it.
Yeah, it's a big
So
wake
yeah,
up call.
and I tell my, I don't know about you, but you mentioned karma. I now spend my life trying to make up for the pain that I caused when I was in my drunken, drugged out state.
Mhm.
People ask me, why is it so important to you to do this, to share this, to teach this? Well, because they have no concept of how awful a human being I was. I would get people fired if they broke up with me. I was an awful, awful, awful human being. And I refuse to be that way anymore. So, and in the early 2000s is when I decided to be a grown up boy
Yeah.
and step out into reality. And I applaud you, Jane, because I've been there and I know it's not easy to rebuild your life in a new way from scratch. Um,
Like hypnoticity says, it takes what it takes, and that's what it took for us to move beyond our pa our crap.
yeah, and we have to own it. We have to accept it because you can't move past it. You got to dive into it. You've got to do
Mhm.
that shadow work. You've got to embrace it, then make it part of you and move on. At least that's my belief. And
Uh-huh.
please remember, you guys, these beliefs expressed are our beliefs. My belief individually, Jane's belief individually. And don't make decisions based on us, as Gerald says. Listen responsibly. Um,
For entertainment purposes only.
that's the other one, for entertainment purposes only. Um, we are here to relate what we've been through. That's all.
Yeah.
The Hanged Man.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for you to live a new life?
Well, that and also, the way I see the hanged man is I see the hanged man like I could say, well, it was when I spent the night in jail because I was there, like, I ate the bologna sandwich and the
Oh yeah,
carton of milk, okay? That's all I could do. It's very humbling. Um, but, the hanged one, like, I like it like this one, again, from the Spacious Tarot. This is my deck.
whoa!
So I love this because it really shows you how the hanged man is looking at things from a different perspective. So we're on the moon and we're looking at the earth. So it's just, and another card that I really love about, oh, a different, no, I didn't bring it out. Anyway, oh, it's, no, that's the Six of Swords. But anyways, so for me, it's about looking at things from a different angle, a different
Yeah,
perspective, not seeing things, you're hanging upside down. Your hands aren't tied and only one foot is tied and you're making a four with your leg. It's making a four. So, it's about, to me, it's about looking at that, the emperor, the patriarchy, the system that we live in, the matrix, whatever it is, from a different angle. Because you're hanging, and he's got most of the time he's got a halo around his head, so his crown chakra is activated. And
right.
that's the way to look at life differently, get a new perspective, a fresh new perspective. Hang in there. Sometimes it takes a while.
Agreed. Now, I love the Hanged Man card because it does make a four, and he is seeking out structure. He's finding a new way to be stable.
Yeah.
Um, it's also a card of shattering illusions, seeing past the illusions. What was the main illusion you had about your life that you had to see past?
Oh gosh, so many.
So many. Yeah, I feel you.
Um, I think that my illusion was, uh, I have lived a very small life. I've kept my life very, very small. I'm an introvert. I didn't speak to people when I was a young girl. I had friends that I always had friends that lobbed onto me and would take me places. And one time I was sitting in a restaurant with all my friends. We were having French fries or something. And these two guys come up to the table and they're talking to us. And I'm just sitting there and they're like, does she speak English? Did your friend speak English? Because that was me. I did not say a word. So I think it was, finally allowing myself to open up and to talk and to
Right.
speak on things, and knowing that I am divinely guided. I have to realize that because that's one of my most important things. Because I know that I know that these things that I see, hear, and feel are divinely guided.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, this card specifically, the Hanged Man, is ruled by Neptune, spiritual planet.
And I'm a Pisces.
Yeah, you're a Pisces. There you have it. Now,
Doesn't Neptune,
changes.
doesn't Neptune rule Pisces?
Neptune is, I believe it is ruled by Pisces,
Mhm. Go on
or
anyway.
is associated with Pisces. The Death card is the next change. We've already established there has been huge changes to your life
Mhm.
throughout your path. Are you somebody who handles that change well? Or do you have to like pull back and let it mellow for a week before you rejoin society?
Well, I what card is it again?
Hi, Vicky. Vicky has to get back to work.
Bye. Oh my gosh, your AC isn't working. Sending.
Oh, no AC. Yeah, it's Vicky. Poor
She's in
baby.
Vegas. Oh, honey, go to a casino. You don't
Yeah,
gamble. Just go to a casino where the air conditioning is.
you got liquor. Go to the casino.
Go to the casinos. Anyway,
So,
yes, the death card. I call the death card the rebirth card. I mean, a lot of decks do call it the rebirth card.
Mhm.
So I enjoy the death card. I enjoy things ending and new beginnings coming to me. So and how do I handle change? You're right. So when we moved to Indiana, I kind of shut down for a little bit and it took me a while. I had to buy my house before I could really settle down. And then once I found this house that I'm in, and I have forests and I have a lake because I grew up on the ocean. I swam
Mhm.
at the beach every day, and here I am in Indiana. I'm like, yeah, right? We were always at the beach, right? And
Not together, you guys, but we were always at the beach.
we were always at the beach, not together.
Yeah.
We were always at the beach, and so for me, I had to get used to it was just beautiful being here in the trees. And for me to get used to this place is carefully, I anticipate, I love the seasons. When I first moved here, though, after we bought our house, I had major surgery. That's when I had my major surgery, my second surgery on my neck. And yeah, exactly, hypnicity. It's okay. I'm not afraid of endings because I know that we never end, and their energy just changes. And I've always been of like because I was an electronic technician when I was 18.
Uh-huh.
Um, I started working at Hughes Aircraft Company. I learned all about electronics in high school because I didn't want to be around people and I didn't want to be around anyone. So I took auto mechanics and electronics, and I was just with boys and I didn't talk to anybody. But and I was in the hospital for 3 months during that time too. But so when I moved here once again, I had major surgery. My whole neck is entirely fused down to my shoulders, and I sat on my couch for a year with binoculars, and I learned all about what it's like to live in four seasons. And I
Wow.
literally, because I had never lived where there were four seasons before, never, and now there are four seasons, and the thing that amazed me is you can see when spring comes, you can watch leaves unfurl.
It's cool, isn't it? It's
Mhm.
neat being in an area where when it rains, suddenly things just
Yeah,
explode. Um, People relate to our stories. Hiddenicity says they were a homeless coke addict in Santa Cruz for the first half of the '80s. I feel I would did something similar in the '90s. You were talking about the death card being reversed in the Santa Muerte deck. It is La Santa Muerte pictured the spirit of death, but she's pregnant, ready to give birth, and there's a cradle down here. So it's
yeah,
exactly what you're saying. It's a rebirth card.
yeah, yeah, and I love the Santa Muerte. I use that deck for, ancestor work.
Ancestor work. Oh yeah, so do I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the best, isn't it? For ancestor work,
it
we
really is,
endorse things and
and
things.
I take the mini to, cemeteries.
Oh, that's a clever idea. I should get the mini deck. I think I'm going to order that.
Yeah, but you need
Temperance.
the big one, though. Yes,
Yeah, temperance is
temperance,
the healing card. Um,
and temperance is number 14, correct?
yes.
Yeah, so I'm 14-5. I'm temperance and the hierophant. So that really is that, that divine alchemy and seeing the duality of
Can
everything.
you talk for a minute? I'm going to step out real quick. Okay.
Okay,
Explain this. I got to check on something.
okay, good. So for me with temperance, it's the duality, it's creating magic, it's alchemy. You are pouring, you're trying to balance out water and fire so that the water doesn't turn to steam and evaporate, and that the water doesn't put out the fire. So the fire doesn't use up all the water and the water doesn't use up all the fire. So it's about finding that balance between our lives. It's that combination, what works for me.
Okay. I had to check. The dogs are barking and barking and barking in the bedroom. I just had to make sure they weren't fighting or
Yeah,
something.
I heard them. I didn't know you still had dogs too.
I've got 5 dogs. I've got two, a Chihuahua and a Morkie, and then they had a couple of puppies that we gave away but came back. And then a puppy that we adopted from his cousin that passed to make sure that she didn't go to a shelter or anything. But yeah, the animals rule my life, and anything I do is based around them. So,
Like I said, I've got a dog at my feet. It's a I don't know what it is. It's a no. What's the thing that looks like it's Scottish? It looks like a
a terrier,
but no, she's something. I forget what she is. Anyway, she's something. She's a schnauzer.
a schnauzer. Um, the devil card is the exact opposite, in my opinion, of the lover's card. It's
Hmm.
got the angel with the 2 people chained up. We've already established that we were both chained to the wrong influences in our youth.
Hmm.
Wrong influences is a tricky term because without those wrong influences and the situations that we went through, we wouldn't be who we are today. That's not an endorsement to say go out and get high, you guys, because one day you're going to be a spiritual leader. It's saying, yeah, we went through it. I'm not going to shame myself because of it. I'm going to learn from it. Um,
Yes.
would you say that is your viewpoint on this card as well?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And
Yes.
what was the lesson you learned most throughout your life that you want to share to others?
That everything that you've done, all the things that you've lived through and gone through, and especially hypnicity, like she's talking about. I mean, look at what she said. It's that validation that we aren't our past, but our past makes us who we are today.
I love the wording of that. We aren't our. I'm going to write that down. Okay.
So yeah, that's what that to me was a very big lesson because I lived in that place of I was a bad person. I didn't, I drove drunk. I did drugs. I allowed myself to be abused, all that stuff. And it held me back from truly living life. And when I finally embraced and said, you know what, all this crap that I've gone through made me who I am today. And I have to love me. Because
Yeah.
it's very hard for me to
Have you ever seen Dune?
no.
Okay, the original is probably the better one for me. Anyway,
The
um,
one with Sting?
the one with Sting, the original, yes.
I have seen it, I just don't remember it, but what
Yeah,
is it?
they have a group of women called the Bene Gesserit sisters. They're like the future version of a coven of witches. They drink something called the water of life, and if they can transmute that water of life, their powers are elevated. They become a Reverend Mother. But if they can't, they die. um, that every time I think about my past, we're transmuting that water of life within us so that we can go forward. But there's a lot of people who aren't able to transmute that or to make the shift, and they either get stuck in that life or they die in that life.
Yeah.
So again, kudos to both of us for being able to accept what we were, use it, and change it for the better. Not only our betterment, but for the betterment of others. Hopefully those people will go out and make other people's lives better, and they will make other people's lives better. We're part of a chain, and I want to be a link in that chain. I do. Before I never did. I didn't want that kind of exposure. I didn't want that kind of responsibility.
I understand, yeah, and I didn't wanna tell people about myself. I
Yeah,
was
I didn't want the
ashamed.
looks.
I was absolutely, utterly ashamed.
Doubt was a big figure too. I'd been through so much, and people knew what I went through. How are they going to accept that I'm this as well? Well, part of it is me hiding the fact of who I was drove me into that life. Okay. So
Yep,
now that I'm not hiding anymore, life
yeah,
is so much easier.
yeah.
It really is.
I looked forward to that day.
Well, we've got the tower card.
Well, there you go, that day looks like it's coming.
Surprise. Um, what was the insight that just shattered your world that made you realize, holy fuck, the one thought? I know the situation you were talking about, being arrested and being put in the slammer, but as I call it, slammer. What was the thought process once you were in there? What did you say, James Lacan?
Well, I don't know, for the first part of it, I was drunk and I was happy and I was making friends in the drunk tank.
And then reality set in.
Yeah, and then when the drugs wore off and the alcohol wore off, I was like, "Oh," and then you get this bologna sandwich and this little warm milk. I'm like, "Ew." But it's accepting that and learning from it. I mean, and I think that sharing our vulnerabilities with people and being vulnerable with people is the best thing that we can do. And if those people there you go. See, I used to say that.
Me too.
I used to say
God.
that. I used to say, "Well, I never got caught," and then I got caught, and that was the best thing to ever happen to me because I had to go through so much therapy and all that kind of stuff, and it was just the best thing to happen to me. So sometimes the worst things that are the best things. This is what it is. I'm going to tell you. There is a card in the Sufi tarot, and I don't like to tell too many people this, but I am into Sufism. Um, but in the Sufi tarot, they talk about the tower. That the tower is when a tower has to fall, and when you're going through the rubble of your life, the rubble of the event that happened, that's when you find the gems. That's where the
Oh,
lessons is, and that's where the gems are. are in the rubble of the tower.
That speaks volumes right there. That's really good. And what kind of gems did you find?
I found myself, and I found out that, it's like, I thought that I was a horrible, awful person and nobody would like me. Yeah, you too, right? And I couldn't be myself, and I didn't even like me,
Yeah.
and I found myself. I found who I am, and I accepted myself, and, you know, I love gems. I have rocks and stuff all around me right now. I'm completely surrounded. So why, when you ask me, what did you I found the gem inside of me, the gem inside of life, because life is so hard.
Yeah. You find the pearl.
Yeah,
Uh,
the pearl in the vulva. Sorry.
pearl in the vulva. You find your clit. Um, the star card. The star brings hope.
Yes.
And what is your hope for the future? For your personal, not for the country, for personal.
I just hope that I have lived my life, and that my children will remember me, and I just want people to when I leave, I don't know what the question is, but it's like I just want to leave a footprint, and that footprint I hope is a good one, and I hope that I can help people. And that's why I do tarot readings for people, because when people are confused and they need a little bit of help making a decision or doing whatever, I mean, we can look at the big picture.
What does the star card mean to you?
See, it is. It's that hope to never give, don't lose hope. And I've lost hope a lot in my life. So I reach for that star card. I don't see the star card. I don't see myself in the star card. I'm quite sometimes I'm not an active participant in life sometimes.
When I meditate with the cards, clicking out what you just said, I will, like, if it's the star card, think, okay, I'm sitting there watching the process happen. What is she doing? And then I'll switch to a different view and I imagine myself being her doing this. What am I doing? And I do that. That's how I meditate with the cards, just looking at them from different perspectives. Mine, and if there's a character in it, or in the next case, the moon card, I imagine myself as the moon shining down. Speaking of the moon card, the moon shines light on all that's hidden. You have a lot of gifts. Can you share some of what they are? You spoke of different forms of divination that you use. Can you tell us a little bit more?
About my different well, I use I catch things in the universe, and I think there's ideas and information all around us, so you just have to tap into that. I use dowsing rods, I use runes, I use Lenormand, I use tarot, I'm trying to learn how to I use my latest thing is charms. I like to throw charms, but
That's is that kind of like throwing runes?
it is, yeah. It's I have, yeah. So I like doing that, and sometimes I'll do a reading, and I'll throw some. I'll just reach in, and you take a pinch and put them and see what, and that can give you clarification on some cards.
What I'm trying to learn currently is tasseomancy, Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and it's driving me nuck and futz again. I just, I'm surprised at how well it's going, but at the same point, I'm confused by how deep this well is. You know,
Yes.
which is with tarot, you're never going to stop learning tarot because once you think you know everything, the universe says, and will throw something out at you.
Yes.
The moon, what does the moon mean to you?
Everything. To me, the moon is intuition. Whenever I see the moon I have so many photographs of the moon. I love the moon in daylight. I've
And the
always
moon Pisces.
Yes, I'm a Pisces. So, and for a little while there, I used to think, I don't know, this could be true, but when I was at night when I was sleeping, there was a group of us. This sounds so bizarre, but here I'm letting my weird out. There's a group of us that sit on the moon and we send healing and light to the planet.
Girl, that ain't weird. I used to, in my meditation, set up my altar on the moon. And so I've done something similar. Yeah. I'm like, girl, that ain't, I got you.
Yeah, I love the moon. It's
Yeah. The sun card.
Mhm.
We've only got a few more cards to go. This has been a really good interview. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
The sun card is joy, happiness, and abundance. What is it to you?
I use that. To me, it is I have to go to my sons. To me, the sun card represents the joy and the happiness. I never thought I was gonna I was not gonna I was gonna be a cat lady and wear men's shoes. I was never gonna get married. I was gonna have a bunch of cats and wear men's shoes. And I ended up being a mother, and that was the most amazing transformation that I had been through was with being a mom, a mother. You're a Cancer. Ooh. Oh my gosh, you're a triple Cancer.
I saw that. I was like, really?
Do you like spend your days just crying? My husband's a Cancer and my daughter-in-law is a Cancer.
Yeah, let's see. Let's
Ooh,
see what this says real
yeah.
quick. Moon to me is hanging out behind the veil on the High Priestess. I'm planning right here, looking to the back of the High Priestess. I believe the idea comes from Rachel Pollack. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she's a fan, a Rachel Pollack
So
fan.
amazed at how people come to the definitions of the cards, how they relate to it, and how they apply it to their daily lives, which is the whole reason I do this series of interviews. I just love finding out about people. I was going to say, that is not the last card. I had them out of order.
Oh.
Judgment. Judgment is a tricky card because it's a card of transformation, being a card of Pluto, but it's also a call to action. What action do you feel you're being called to for the future?
Well, I see it as awakening and following a path. And like this is my favorite judgment card again from my deck. And I feel like it's realizing that we walk through the winter, and when we get through it, this is our portal. I'm a big huge portal person, okay? There's a portal on the end of my street. I kid you not.
Really?
Yes, yes. I have found so many things there. I find feathers. Mary Magdalene tells me I asked her one day, I'm like, is this a vortex or a portal? Literally asked Mary Magdalene, and I pulled a card from one of my Mary Magdalene decks, and it said Magdalene's portal. So for me, judgment is finally going through that portal and going into this very colorful I'm not afraid of the winter because I know that this is coming for me.
Nice.
So that's
That's
how
beautiful
I
way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, and the
And
road goes on. If you look in this card, the road goes on, the pathway still continues on into that light.
just
So,
in a different form.
yeah.
So that brings us to our last card on the journey. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We have the World card. Now, the World card is a card of endings, but it's also a card of new beginnings. Kabbalistically speaking, you can think of this card as same thing as a Santa Muerte card, giving birth to something new. So although one thing is ending, that ring can symbolize the female giving birth to something new, which is the Fool card at the beginning again. What is the world to you?
To me, that card just represents that we keep going and going and going, and that we do not end.
That cyclical nature.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. We do not end. We keep going. You just keep moving through everything that you're going through. You just keep doing it until the day that you don't. And
Yeah.
I mean, but that's how I feel about the world. But I just really, really quick, I want to show if I have an ultimate favorite card of the deck. I'm
Let's see.
always I'm always like, let me see the Eight of Cups. Look at this Eight of Cups. That woman, this woman here, do you see how she's got that cup in her hand?
Uh-huh.
She is walking away from this house, and she's just pouring out that cup. She's letting go of everything that does not serve her.
What deck is that? That's not the Abyss deck, is it?
It is. It's the Abyss.
Yeah, I was just talking about that yesterday with my friend D that I mentioned. I'm
Yeah.
getting that.
I love this deck. Somebody who didn't love this deck, we did a trade, and it's one of my favorite decks. And this is my favorite card ever. And there's a
I'm,
song that goes with it. I get songs with my cards.
oh, that's cool.
I should have mentioned that. That's one of the things that happens to me is one time I was with a friend of mine. Yeah, we're in an endless fractal. But I was with a friend of mine, and as soon as I got this one card, I got this song. I got Joni Mitchell's "Troubled Child," and and I was doing a reading for a friend of mine, and I said, "What's going on with your son?" And she was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, listen to this song because I'm getting troubled child. And I made her listen to the song, and she's like, oh my gosh. So for me, I put cards to songs. Sometimes I get messages from spirit in music. I love my favorite thing is to go to live concerts. I love music. Music always has to be in my life.
I think the last concert I went to was over 20 years ago. I went to see Santana with my cousin.
I just saw Santana 3 weeks ago.
It's phenomenal. Oh,
Yes.
For people who've never seen them live, it is a show. I mean, there's so many people on stage. It's beautiful. It's fantastic.
Oh, it was, and I saw him with the Counting Crows.
Oh my gosh, girl, I want to party with you. I want to just go kick it and listen to music and go out. That'd be phenomenal.
I just went just because it was only $25. I went and I took my son and I went and saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in Chicago. It's $25.
That would be another Earth, Wind in Chicago would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I've always gone to concerts. I've gone to more concerts than I can even say. I'm not. I don't even want to say about it because
I don't like going to too many concerts, mainly because I don't like peopling that much. Being around that many people is rough on me.
it is on me too. But for some reason, the music moves me, and it's all about the music. I can when I'm watching a concert, it's just me and the band.
Yeah, I could see that. For me, I can't. I'm too aware of danger. I'm with that many people. My spidey sense starts kicking in, and I'm looking for the threats.
Well, I always put protection around me.
I do too, but that fear is there, and I can't seem to get past it. I
Well,
know I don't need to live that way. I know that, and I know it's a issue I need to work past, but I'm okay with it right now.
well, see, I get it because I won't go to the grocery store. I won't go to a mall. My husband has to do all that stuff. But I can, but the pull to go to a concert is so strong for me
That would
that,
be awesome.
I can just, yeah.
Once I'm in a crowd, I generally do pretty good, but I just I tend to be, what's that word? My mindset goes with the crowd. And sometimes that's positive, but if the crowd is in a bad mind frame, it takes me with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I used to be that way. I like an example, what, and then because I know we got to wrap this up, but
Yeah.
a really big example of that is I when I was in this relationship and we went to the Dave Matthews 2 nights in a row. And the first night, it was great. Everybody around us loved us. We were having a wonderful time. We were being ourselves. We were dancing. We were hugging. She was standing behind me. She's like taller than me. It was beautiful. And everybody's like, oh, look at them. They're so great. And then the very next night, the people that were around us were like, ew, how gross, get out of here. And it just brought our experience that night was just when we were with the group of people who loved us and accepted us, and we were like, eighth row center, we were like having the best time. But
Yeah.
then we were around all these people who were like, ew,
Yeah.
it was just a bummer.
I don't want to have to battle that kind of energy when I'm trying to enjoy myself, I guess is what it is.
Yeah.
Uh, Jane, we are going to have to wrap this
Yep.
up. It has been a phenomenal interview. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here. Can you tell us
you.
what you got coming up, where you're going to be on YouTube? Do you have any dates scheduled?
I'm going to be with Nancy and Gerald tomorrow morning on Gerald's channel.
Okay,
And
Long Stash, you guys check out Long Stash.
no, Tarot Stash.
Tarot Stash. Long Stash is when he's with Richie.
Richie, yeah.
Tarot
And then
Stash. And I've done that before, and he gets upset at me for that. Tarot Stash, please.
Tarot Stash. Yeah, and then Tarot Stash, we're going to have Tuesdays with Tarot Stash on my channel. And
Nice.
every once in a while I do something with Hershey the Shadow Reader. She's a great person. I just enjoy her so much. So I might do a charm show or something with her. I'm going to keep it easy, and I'm going to really look into what I really want to do, which is start the group online, Zoom group for people.
People are going to want to be in. I'm telling you, we've already got 2 people, 3 people earlier talking about how they wanted to check that out, and I'm the fourth. I want to be. I want to check it out too. Anyway, thanks again, Jane, for being here. I hope you'll come back and talk with me again sometime.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really have appreciated this. This has been fun.
I would. And you guys, please check out Jane's channel. I'm excited that you guys sat in with us, and we'll talk to you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, you're still live.
Oh, no, that's not good.